And I will mind you, the entire time that I was going through this, I was in a psychosis state and completely vulnerable to any attack. I mean, any type of attacks. Like when I would get high and hear voices and think that they weren't real voice, like I think they were all just in my head. I thought everything was imaginary, that everything was a hallucination for a number of years. For about 10 years, I thought everything was just in my head. And then even like people talking to me while that's when they did a lot of the weird like sexual manipulation implants and all this weird stuff they would do, and they would get me spun out in a psychosis where I would constantly relive that over and over and over in my head over again. They would play hostage situation tapes, people being raped. If I loved them, they were being raped. And since the main protagonist's sister was the one that I was in love with, who was originally in on the first attack, in order to cover up that they snitched on the individual who was manipulating to trying to kill his friend, she was all on board for everything. The family even hacked all my phones, all my accounts, kept an eye on me for the last 10 years. They still keep constant watch on me even to this day. Every time I try to post a story on the internet, it gets flagged and blocked. So basically, it is what it is. I caught on to the people in the headphones one day when I was sitting here on my phone. I heard people talking to me. I did like a record screen. One of my girlfriends who was blackmailed in at the time because I was buying drugs off a lot of people when I got back in 2022 when they started their second attack. So since they were hacking my phone, they manipulated all my friends from jail who I was doing drugs with, that if you don't go along with this or do this, we're going to tell on you, set you up. Um, they even gave them access to listen to me 24/7, hacks to my phone as well. And they set me up for a long, from 15 to 2022. There was a lot of manipulation involved in there. Lots of trauma events, psychosis events. Uh, One of the things they installed was BEAU, where they tried to convince me that my nephew was my son, that me and her had a kid, and a bunch of other things. That they tried to convince me that I was a rapist. They tried to make me homosexual. They tried to do all this stuff to me. They tried to do, and I thought I was just hearing hallucinations, but it wasn't hallucinations. It was all hacks on my phone and stuff like that. And that's the sad part of the experience, is because I was high, because they got me strung out on the meth and did the turns out was a satanic ritual. They even one night I looked outside my window and seen a girl fucking a dog. That's the links of extreme these people went to make me look crazy if I ever told this story. You know what I mean? It's just to make me look. They'd throw in crazy shit like that to make me look bonkers. I'd be walk like one day I pulled up in my driveway and there's a guy in my yard with a clown and an AK just standing there like this. And I just shook my head at him, told him, I was like, I don't know if you're real or not. You can go fuck yourself. I'm going to bed. That is the links of extreme things these people do to try and hide their fucking gang stalking activities. I've seen what looked like Bigfoot walking on the hill that was just a guy in a furry suit. You know what I mean? And they'd always do this stuff at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And they'd only do it to me when I was high because I had my phone tracked 24/7. And their goal was to make me look as crazy as possible so that no one would believe my story. And to drive me insane, convince me to kill myself, stuff like that. Hell, I've even seen one night people out there in deer suit, them two people horse suits walking through the field, fucking with me. I felt like I was a goddamn fucking local tourist attraction, the shit that was done to me. And there was so much shit done to me and so many people knew about it. I don't understand how these people thought they could get away with murder. I honestly don't understand it. They were trying to use the community in order to have somebody murder me. I remember one of the people that were blackmailed into this is when I got my first EPO violation. I was over in Erlanger hanging out with one of my friends who I was like copping dope off of. I can say that now because it's already been all these people that were involved. They all got told on anyway. The ones that went along with helping all got snitched on anyway by that particular group. And I'll give you an example of how I know this. Let's see. The night they put fentanyl in my methamphetamine, and this is how they set that up. I go up there to see the protagonist's sister. She's like, me and her talk for a little bit. Key word she said was, "I lost my microphone." I go over to my dude's place. He pulls out a pink microphone and a speaker box. He's like, "Hey, check this out." I don't really think nothing about it. It's just a coincidence. A couple weeks later, I'm with one of my ex-girlfriends. We're over there to get some dope. He gives me meth and fentanyl mixed together. I overdose. When I overdose, the woman that is with me punches me in the face 30 times and leaves me there for dead. He finally gets a light bulb off in his head, like, wait a minute, these people are trying to set me up for murder. Forces her to go back, call an ambulance, and they got me to a hospital. They broke a meth pipe in my fucking truck, and as soon as I went back to his house that night, let's just say somebody called the law on him, and that's when the cops got involved. They even tried to use my ex in order to cover up the fact that they was the ones that called the law on him. To this day, he thinks it was either me or my ex that called the cops on him, but really it was the original protagonist that's been hacking me since 2015. And that story goes on a couple other places. The people down in Covington, one of my girls down there that I was dating, did a bunch of weird shit here. Kept setting up needles and shit through my house. I kicked her out. Let's see, somebody called the local police department when I had my first apartment and told them that I was a big time meth dealer, and I was pulled over 60 something times that year. They were searching through my truck. All they found was a empty syringe. On the videotape they said they was looking for a £1/4. So then all these like methed out psychosis events, like with them doing the rape in my backyard and hostage situation, I would usually sit around and say shit like, I'm not a rapist, I didn't fuck her, I didn't do this. See, they installed them trigger events in me, and then every time I would get high, I would re-enter those events, and that's why I tried to commit suicide every time I got high, because I would revisit those experiences where they were hiding the dead bodies in the backyard. She pretended to be raped in my backyard by him when they were feeding me methamphetamine and acid when they were trying to set me up in 2016. So every time I get high, I'd relive them trauma events, and then I'd sit around and I'd be hearing voices from that experience. And I sit there and talk to myself. So people would hear me sitting here like, I'm not a rapist, I didn't do that, I didn't do this. And people that were just now listening and hacking me were like, all right, this guy's hiding something, you know. Is like, he obviously did something, and that's how they were convincing other people to try and murder me. So it wasn't an issue from 2015 until 2022 when I started to try and remember what was happening to me. And then when I started to catch on, that's when people started to try and murder me. That's when the big slander campaign went around town. That's when they told everybody I go to jail. They called the jails to tell everybody there I was a rapist, a pedophile, a woman beater. They tell all my girlfriends at the time that I was doing this, doing that. You know what I mean? And it got completely out of hand. And I was attacked by an ambulance driver. The local police were tired of dealing with me. Every time I had a court date, they would call public defenders and the prosecutors try to set me up. When I go to the loony bin, they would call the loony bin and tell the loony bin a bunch of shit about me. They were trying to kill me for an extended, long period of time. I mean, crazy extended period of time to this day. They orchestrated on the first part of the kidnapping. They did a bunch of shit with my phone. Said Cheyenne was being, can't say names, but it said she was being raped, being murdered, blah, 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 blah. Got me up there to her driveway. They did a fake hostage situation up there. And then basically a lot of people thought they were out trying to kill me to do the right thing. Like they thought I was a piece of shit person. These people had painted this story and manipulated my mind over a course of like 10 years, that even when I would sit and talk to myself and they would listen, I didn't look good. It wasn't until the fucking years later, after, you know, I was raped, I was drugged. They put shit in my drugs. I woke up one day with an asshole like that. After fake kidnapping, the second fake kidnapping, and when I tried to kick in that door, their mother was supposed to blow my head off with a shotgun. So after being raped, the end of the hostage situation, losing my truck, and about getting 15 years in prison, I snapped out of my meth-induced psychosis. And that's pretty much what it is. I mean, they had people, they tried to get local gang members after me, local clubhouses and shit. The local clubhouses weren't stupid. They figured somebody's just trying to get this motherfucker murdered. None of them ever fucked with me. The only people that really ever fucked with me were people that like I fucked with, text messaged, and like who sold me drugs, and then were blackmailed into helping and going along with me, or going along with them, and trying to murder me. 10 attempts on my life since then. I mean, the local cops would, from them driving me crazy so much, the local cops would have to come out here to my parents almost every fucking night to fucking take me to some behavioral health. So the local cops out here just think I'm crazy. And now that the secret's out locally, and everybody knows that they're just trying to cover that story up because people actually did some research, they did some investigation, all these people on the street actually looked into it. Nothing was adding up. They called the cops on the first dude who tried to murder me. They called the cops on all the people that are trying to murder. Every attack from that group was covered up by the local police department because every attack that came from them, even including the night I was raped, I woke up to the Boone County Police Department in a tent. They woke me up. I had no memory where I was. Had no idea what was going on. Took me about 5 minutes to get my head back together. And when I took a shower later that day, I realized I was raped. It is what it is. These people orchestrated to have me raped. Told everybody through town that I was a rapist and did that and that. But if I'd ever done anything to them, they'd have called the cops from the get-go. They're playing both sides of the fence. They're playing cops and the robbers, and they've been getting away with it for years. They have multiple stalking victims. Even when I was at the Sun Behavioral Health, when he set up my friend with the meth lab, or snitched on him, he got real close to his family in order to secure his story that I was a snitch. So as soon as his brother was in jail from them snitching on him, he went and hung out with his little brother and fed his little brother a bunch of shit. Started hacking them, even hacked and stalked his ex-girlfriend, who I ran into at Some Behavioral Health, who was working as a nurse at the time. And she heard me bitching about these people, and she's like, "You mean him and him?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's him and him." And she's like, "That motherfucker was stalking, hawking, and stalking me too. He's done it to multiple people online." She went and talked to my psychiatrist, and my psychiatrist comes out and tells me, "So you're not crazy. Everything you said about these people and everything you're going through is fucking true." And I'm like, "Yeah, bub, it's the fucking truth. I'm not crazy. I'm not I'm not fucking, paranoid. I'm not that crazy. Motherfuckers are out to get me. I'll have problems till the day I die. I'll never have justice. I'll never have peace because local law enforcement doesn't give a fuck. They don't. I got them terroristic threatening me in Walton. All right, I was homeless in Walton, trying to get back up on my feet. They see me. They call the cops on me when I'm just sitting on the sidewalk. They're still hacking my phone. I put some videos on my phone saying some shit about him trying to rape his stepdaughter because he's raped a chick on my front porch when we were teenagers. If he did it before, he'll do it again. Didn't even post them online. So their plan this time was she came to Kroger's where they knew I was. She walks over to me with him already on the phone. "You motherfucker say that shit about my daughter, I'll fucking kill you, you son of a bitch, blah, 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 blah." She's screaming, "Help, there's a stalker over here." All at the local Kroger's to get me arrested because they got an EPO on me because they knew I snapped out of it. So while she was trying to get me arrested, he went and vandalized my tent, slashed it, destroyed it, stole all my property. And then a week or two later, his mom calls the local Waffle House in Walton, tells everybody up there I'm a rapist. So I finally caught these people in the act. I got text messages from the jail where he texts up to the jail and say they were in the voices in the woods waiting to kill and murder my family. I got the other inmates' names that he was texting in the jail. You know, um, I got 10 years of backstory, all this evidence, all these witnesses, all this paperwork, everything that fact checks my story. And I'll probably never get justice for it. I'm posting this online because I'll be leaving Kentucky soon. So I don't really give a fuck. If you've made it all the way through to the end of this video, all of your names, who you are, what you've done to me, screenshots, face shots, everything, all the people involved that are scared that I might start talking about you one day. Well, everything you've ever done to me and everything you've ever said to me and all this whole story with more detail, all stored on files, emails I've already sent to public defenders and lawyers in the event anything happened to me or anybody else. So I'm covered all the way around. But I still want people to know my story. Even if I never get justice, it is what it is. And I guess the only thing I'm going to have to do is just pick up the pieces, move on with life, and try and do with the psychological damage that I face. I've woken up with broken bones, broken ribs, had random people out there in the world following me. I had people follow me into the mental ward. I had people follow me into the jails. Group targeting and gang stalking. It is real. And that's the story to why and how it got this way. People were drugging my pets. People were vandalizing my vehicles. People were stealing shit from my parents' house. And I'm going to kill my cat. That's all I got for you.